4x4 square foot garden beds. And I want to go ahead and get my wood today because when you buy your wood, it's been treated and it's usually damp. And so I'll need to let it dry out really good before I put the beds together and I start filling it up with soil, or, you know, my little boy, he may want to paint his or something like that. So we're going to let it dry out for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks. So I'll go in here and show you what I come up with. Okay. Now what I'm looking for is some 8x8. They have that. Because, oh, there they are. Okay, 2x8x8. Right up there. That's perfect. Okay, so now you need to find somebody to help us out. Okay, I went ahead and got my wood. They cut it for me, and they loaded it up, and this was just shy of $60. That was for, this should be enough to make 4 beds. So you pick out 3 colors for your garden bed, okay?
They feel so light.
Yeah. 3 colors to put on it, okay? So many to choose from.
I know.
Look at all those. All those right there. Those are pretty colors, aren't they? Nice and soothing. You want those 3 colors? So you're going to put all 3 of those brownish and orangish colors on your bed. Mix it up a little bit. Maybe use one of those and then one of the other ones.
Nah.
No. You sure?
I'm sure.
Yeah, what are the names?
This one is Mother Earth.
Okay.
This one is Desert Root.
Desert Root.
And that one is Earth and Red.
Earth and Red. Okay. And they, I think we went to Lowe's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they kindly they will mix up your custom colors in a small, I don't know how big this is. It's I think it's a half pint or something. So you can have a paint sample. So I think it's like $3 for them to do that. So I didn't really understand what he was going to do with these colors, and then the next day he told me he wanted it to look like brick. So that made this project a little more challenging than I had anticipated. What we're going to do today is I bought a sponge, and I'm going to cut this into thirds, and I'm just going to paint each color on each one, and we're going to press it on here and see if it looks like brick. So that's what we are going to do. Okay? Now, I think that's a good idea to make bricks.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good? Yeah, paint all that on there for me. And get some of that, yeah.
And ta-da!
Alrighty. There we go. It has a little texture to it. Now, there we go. And I'll go ahead and get this other one going, okay? So we can move it on along. Because we got a lot of work to do.
We want to move it. Oh yeah, black river car or something like that. Come on, we gotta move it. Come on. Do you like my feet? We gotta move it. Come on, come
This
on.
one.
I
I hope we have enough paint to do the whole thing. I think we will.
Okay.
Alrighty, here we go.
Are we posting this on video?
Yes.
OMG.
garden bed together finally. So I'm going to bring all the pieces out and show you guys how we're going to assemble it. Okie dokie.
Whoa!
Whoa.
My garden's gonna be right there.
No, we're going to move it down there, but we have to screw it together up here, okay? As Mel Bartholomew does state in his book, to not assemble like two pieces inside two pieces. You'll see what I'm talking about. See how the corners go like this on each one? That one's inside those two, and this one is inside those over here. We're going to do it a little bit differently. So, what we want to do, okay, so this one goes inside this, okay, and then this corner over here, this one's going to go like that,
Let me guess.
okay,
2 clicks.
and this one is okay the way it is,
Okay.
and this one. And this will make it structurally more sound. Okay, that goes inside that one. Okay, now we get to screw them together. So what I have here are deckmate screws, and these are 3.5 inches long. This did come with it, and this fits into the screw. These screws will go at this depth, so they will be just deep enough to fit in there. And we're going to do 3. 1, 2, and 3 at each corner. And my helper is going to hold this part for me while I screw it in.
Like that?
Yeah. Are we ready? Let's go ahead and get some holes going. Another one?
Mom, are we done with all 3?
No, we got one. These other, we're almost done. There.
Done?
Yes.
Yay!
Okay, so you see this bed here is covered with weeds. I could actually put a square-foot garden on grass too, and I don't have to do anything to it. All I have to do is put down some weed block on top, and it's just going to suffocate out your weeds or grass or whatever you're covering. So hopefully I'll have enough here. I'm just going to roll this out. This is a nice clean way to start a garden bed. When you buy your weed block, you want to make sure to get it in the 4-foot width instead of the 3, because it comes in both of those 2 different sizes. So make sure that's something that you take a look at on your package before you purchase it, because most of your square-foot gardens are going to have either be 4x8s or 4x4s like I'm doing. I'm rolling out about 9 feet of weed block because I'm going to put 2 4x4s on there, and I'm going to put a trellis in the middle of them. And I just want to prevent weeds from coming up around the trellis. I will grow from the boxes and work them onto the trellis. Okay, so now I'm going to roll my weed block out to this other weed block that I have here that I use for my walkway. And you'll notice that weed block doesn't always keep out the weeds. Sometimes seeds land on top of your weed block and they grow that way, or they just run on top from the ground that's around them. So I'm going to roll this out here. And I have some landscape pins. I'm going to pin them down in each corner with landscape pins. I'll just give this a good cut here. Always good to have too much than not enough, than too little if I need it to secure it down. So I'll just cut it down here, and that gives me about 2 or 3 inches overlap there. The stage in this project to put together our grids, and if you're doing square foot gardening, it is an absolute must that you have a grid. And if it's your first time doing it, I would highly recommend making sure that you do a grid. What your grid will do for you is it marks off your raised bed into 1 square foot blocks, and in each one of those square feet you can plant a different number of vegetables. For instance, carrots, I can plant 16 carrots where I can only plant 1 broccoli plant, or I can plant 4 lettuce plants but 9 green bean plants. So there's a different number of vegetables you can plant, and you can refer to your book, which is also another absolute must-have if you're doing square foot gardening. It will tell you how many to plant per square foot. Videos are great for learning how to do square foot gardening, but I still refer to this, even though I did square foot gardening for 3 years, because it's a wonderful reference tool for how to do the method. And I'm still trying to learn how to do it properly. So if you do it properly, you don't have to have so many beds, because there's a continuous planting method that's also explained in the book. But I'm going to get into the actual seed planting on another video, because that's a whole different story. And this video is mainly for the bed preparation. And so now, like I said, we've reached the grid stage. And so the grid, I'm going to make mine out of wooden dowels. And I actually used these on the first square foot garden that I did. And they lasted probably about a year, so they don't last very long. And I mean, I could paint them if they would last longer, but I don't really want to have that paint, leaching into the soil of my garden bed. This will be just for my boys' bed, since I've done square foot gardening before. I can kind of just look at my bed and eyeball it and know how much of each seed I can put where. But since he's learning, we are going to mark it off. It'll be very structured for him to learn by. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get him to mark these off every 12 inches. And we'll take it outside, and I'm going to try to glue them together and just see how they do. And then if that doesn't hold very well, then I'm probably going to put some twist ties or some wire or something to kind of reinforce it. When you're trying to figure out how to make your grids, you can, of course, use these, but also look on the internet. There are a lot of good ideas out there for how to make your grids. Some people like to use string, and some people use wire. I've seen mini blind slats used. So there's some recommendations in the book too on how to put together your grids. So check that way. I'll probably eventually switch over to string for him, but we're just going to start with the dowels right now. Alrighty, we get our grids going. We're going to take the UPC label off of the dowel. We could leave it on, but it will look much neater if we take it off, right? So we will remove these, and then we are going to mark it off to where we want to glue it, and then we'll take it outside and we're going to glue them together. Okay, Jaden, now what you need to do for me is you want to crisscross these, kind of like a big tic-tac-toe. Okay? Now, they are going to cross at the little black dots that you put on there. You see a black dot?
Yeah.
Match that one up, okay? And you put that together. I'm going to put my gloves on to open up this glue while you're putting those together. So everybody can see this grid. I guess this white sheet, but... Okay, this is the final connection of the grid intersections. I glued them, and they just weren't sticking very well. So I reinforced it with some copper wire. This is real thin wire that I found at the craft store in the jewelry making section. It's a copper wire. So I just wrapped that around there real good, and it seems to be working. It seems to hold each one of these in place. We have reached the final stage of putting together the square foot garden bed, and it's basically just getting the Mel's mix going. And what Mel's mix is vermiculite, peat moss, and a blended compost. The vermiculite is basically just an exploded rock. It's an exploded mica rock, and it enables your soil to remain loose so that your plant roots can grow through your soil and get to the nutrients. Vermiculite is kind of a hard thing to find, so you may have to call a couple of nurseries to see if they carry it, and if they don't, do ask if they can order it, because sometimes they will do that for you. It comes in 2 different sizes. It comes in fine or coarse. You'll need to get the coarse. And as far as how much you need to order, do refer to your square foot gardening book. This is another very important part of the square foot gardening method is your soil and the calculations of how much you will need for your size bed. The calculations are based on volume and not on weight. So your vermiculite is extremely light, whereas your compost is very heavy, but it's really by volume. Some bags have weights, they don't have volume on them. So your vermiculite is usually sold by the volume on cubic feet. So refer to your book to figure out how much you're going to need on that. Then you have peat moss, and peat moss is what will keep your soil nice and moist. It'll help it retain moisture and keep your plants all happy. So now peat moss can usually be found at any of your home improvement stores. Some of the stores only carry it seasonally, and so you'll want to ask if it's, maybe if you're thinking about doing this project later this summer or something like that, you will want to go ahead and ask them if it's something they carry year-round or seasonally. And if it's seasonally, obviously go ahead and pick up a bale of it and keep it maybe in your garage or something like that until you're ready to use it. Peat moss is another one of those tricky kind of things as far as doing your calculations for how much you're going to need for your bed, because the compressed peat moss, it may say like 3 cubic feet on the bag, but once you put it in your bed, it's usually double that as far as volume because it expands. But then you can buy it loose and it will have the accurate cubic feet measurement on your bag, or if you buy it loose. And then your last and final thing, I think is probably the most important, is your compost blend. You can find some compost at your home improvement stores. The easiest one to find is mushroom compost, but then there's also composted cow and chicken manure. It gets harder once you get past those 3, and the book recommends having a blend of at least 5 different kinds. So go back to the nursery that you ordered your vermiculite from and ask them what kind of compost they carry. Usually, if it's especially local small nursery, they will have some high quality compost. Allow yourself about 2 weeks to put together everything you're going to need for your soil, because the tendency is, you know, you've worked so hard to get everything made, you bought the wood, you've planned it, and then you got everything together. Now you need to do is fill it up. So you run out of the home improvement store thinking you're going to pick everything up, and they don't have what you need, and so you end up substituting a lot of things. I don't recommend to do it that way. Think ahead of time and be patient. If there's anything that gardening teaches you, it's patience. So this is where it's going to start. Make sure you get everything that you need for your soil ahead of time. Maybe while you're assembling your beds and you're going different places, go ahead and start shopping for everything that you're going to need for your soil. Okay, I will start with the peat moss. And right here what we have is a big bale of peat moss, and it says on here on the package 3 cubic feet, but take note that it also says it's compressed. Okay, so when you pour this out, it's going to double in size as far as the volume. So it can be even more than double. Okay, so refer to your book, and it is in there as to how much you need as far as the compressed versus the loose. Now over here I have the loose peat moss, and it says on here 2 cubic feet. All right, so that will be true 2 cubic feet. It is less expensive to buy the compressed. And then here is the blend of compost I was able to find. Here is a garden compost, and it is mostly mushroom, but it does have some broken down leaves and other kind of cuttings in there. Okay, and then I have mushroom compost, which is always easy to find. So I got 2 different kind of mushroom compost, 2 different brands. I'm also going to use some black hen, some composted chicken manure in here, but I will not use much of it because it is very high in nitrogen and it is very strong and can burn my baby plants. So I want to use that sparingly. And then over here, this was a good find. This was something called Farmer's D. Can't really see that, but it was a bag I picked up at one of those specialty type nurseries I was telling you about. In this particular organic compost, and you probably can't see this either, but it's composed of cotton gin waste, virgin pine peelings, peanut byproducts, green waste, chicken litter, peat humus, and granite dust, and then a couple other specialty type of flowers, dandelion and valerian flower, oak bark, just a little nice mix of things. So I was real happy to find that. And the best part of it was that it was regularly $12 a bag, but because it was a dirty bag on the outside, they gave it to me for half off, so it's $6 a bag. So anytime you're shopping for these type of things and it's an open bag, dirty bag, ask for a discount, see what they will do. Then of course I have some composted, this is a composted cow manure with other compost in it. So that'll be basically what I'm using. I also have some soil conditioner over there. I'm not sure how much nutrients that'll have in it. It does have some compost in it, so I'll probably use a little bit of that. I'm going to try to use as much of a blend as I can. Alrighty, and then we have the vermiculite. This is the vermiculite bag. I've already emptied it down there into that bed down there. And you'll notice on here, it says that it is, notice on here, and you'll notice on here it says it's coarse. Alright, this was a bag of 4 cubic feet. I've started mixing up some of this today. I'm going to go ahead and finish that this evening. So over there, it should end up being a nice light brown with lots of white specks in it when you're done. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these mixed up, and then put the grid on top of that and show my little boy how to grow some food. Alrighty. Thanks for watching.